My name is Mary, and popular name, I see. I'm actually here to tell you kind of a sad story, which I know is not really how this event was marketed, but once they give me the mic, they can't take it back. So, I'm going to tell you about something that happened to me last week. My bike got stolen. And I shouldn't really have been surprised that my bike got stolen because I didn't lock it. And not only did I not lock it, I didn't leave it somewhere where you could lock it. Like, it was very conspicuously unlocked and left in the middle of nowhere. In fact, when I got off the bike and left it there, I sort of thought to myself, I was like, somebody could steal my bike. I left and I came back and I was like, somebody stole my bike! But I did have reason to be surprised that somebody stole my bike. For one thing, it was 6:45 a.m. on a Thursday. And, I don't really see bike thieves as being the kind of people to have, their crazy morning routine where they're like, at 5 a.m. I get up and do an hour of cardio, and at 6 a.m. I eat a carb-free breakfast, and at 6:45 I go steal bikes. But I guess they do. And then the other reason I was surprised that somebody stole my bike is that it was a really shitty bike. The brakes don't work, the chain was really rusty, both tires were flat. Mary, why are you riding a bike with flat tires? I don't know, I had to get around. So I left my shitty bike there, and I came back and it was gone, and I was feeling a lot of emotions, but I didn't have time to process any of them because I had to get to class at the Whites, and now I didn't have a bike. And I'm on cross country, but in cross country, we mostly focus on running, so walking is a little bit out of my wheelhouse. I'll save you the grueling details, but let's just say it was a long crawl to class. After class, I did what any sane person would do, and I took 45 minutes out of my day to go search every single bike rack on campus. Because maybe they realized later that the bike was bad and left it somewhere else. They did not. I did not find my bike, so I called the most well-known Crime Stoppers around. Carleton Campus Security. And I called them, I'm like, somebody stole my bike. And, oh my God, we'll be right there. They show up in their little go-kart. They're like, what happened? Somebody stole my bike. So they ask me a bunch of questions, they take a report, and then they ask, do you want to file a police report? And I was like, my bike is so valuable. Obviously, I want to file a police report. So they were like, cool, come to security headquarters and we'll call the cops. So the next day, I show up to campus security headquarters, which is located at 420 Hoppin' House. I feel like we don't talk about that enough. So I pull up to 420 Hoppin' House, and I meet a security officer there. And he takes me inside and he calls the police, and then a police officer shows up. And then the police officer is asking me all these questions so he can take a report, but none of the questions are about my bike. They're all about me. What's your name? What grade are you in? What's your address? My address? Yeah, your address. You want my Carleton address? No, like your home address. I was like, the one in Iowa? There's nothing there. He's like, yeah, your home address. I was like, what are you going to do with my home address? Mail me a new bike? Send me a little sorry for your loss card? And then I thought maybe they're going to use it to mail me promotional material like businesses do. Like last spring I got vaccinated at the family fair, so they got all my personal information. And the family fair uses my home address to mail me coupons. And so my mom's at home in Iowa getting family fair coupons. Don't get me wrong, she loves a good deal, so she's clipping all of them, and she saves them for me. I can't wait to go home for winter break and find another pile of family fair coupons on my bed. And I was like, maybe the Northfield Police Force is going to, send me some promotional material. I'll get a little pamphlet, or my mom will, a little pamphlet that says, Northfield Police, we're the nice kind, not the racist kind. Northfield Police, we only shoot if it's an email. Good classic stuff like that. So after I tell him my address, then he asks me questions about the bike. But the first question is really hard. He asks me, how much is your bike worth? So I'm sitting there, turning this over in my head. How much could I, morally be be okay with charging someone if I were like selling my bike. So I'm sitting there in silence, and he tries to help me out. He goes, "Is your bike less than $500? But it was less than $5. He goes, "Oh, well, like that's the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony." Misdemeanor and a felony? It was hardly a crime. So he takes down all the information, he's filing the report, and then he's like, "Do you have any questions?" I was like, "Yeah, are you selling any bikes?" He was not. "Do you have any other questions?" I was like, "Yeah, I have a hypothetical question. So let's say that hypothetically, last spring, there was a party here at Carleton, and it got busted by the police, and hypothetically, my friend was running from the party, and she had her bike, but she dropped it because she was being pursued by a police officer, and when she went back the next day, the bike was gone, so she thinks the Northfield police have it. Do you have that bike?" And this cop is like just staring at me. And then I realized that like when you ask a hypothetical question about my friend, you're like really asking about yourself. But I wasn't. I was actually asking about my friend. So I tell him, I was like, no, this really wasn't me. It was my friend, Grace Leslie. And her address is... They did not have Grace Leslie's bike either. So the Northfield police were not getting any new bikes. So the cop left, and then the Carleton security officer is walking me out, Officer J. And he walks me outside, and outside of 420 Hoppen House, there is a small bike rack, and there were some bikes parked there. And Officer J goes, these two bikes here were left at the beginning of the summer, unlocked, and nobody's come back for them. So if you need a bike, you could take one of these bikes. I was like, "Are you telling me to steal a bike?" He was like, "Well, actually, I don't know if you want it because this one of our other officers was riding it around, and he said the gear shift doesn't work." He was riding it around? Is that what you guys do all day? Carleton security officers ride around unlocked bikes. Maybe one of them took my bike. I was like, "Well, the gears might not shift, but do the brakes work? Is there a small family of mice living in the frame? No? Then it's better than my bike." So I did take the bike, and as I was riding away, he was like, "Don't sue us if you crash." And I was like, "No worries, pal." So I go through all of this turmoil, 2 reports, bike stolen, bike gained, and the only lesson I learned is that I'm never going to lock my bike again, because if it gets stolen, I can get a free upgrade at 420 Hoppen House.